Hi, everybody. It's Sam Bennett with the Organized Artist Company. Thank you so much for being here. I had a little bit of technical difficulty with the links, so I'm going to give it a second for everybody to be able to jump in and log in and enter and whatnot. So let me see how everybody's doing. Great. Wonderful to see you. Wonderful to see you. Fantastic. Yay. I'm going to do one quick thing, which is just to click on a link and just make sure that this is working for everybody the way that I think it's supposed to be working for everybody. And make sure that we're not having any additional technical difficulties, because I gotta tell you, man, this is no joke, right? This tech stuff can get a little overwhelming. So let me just make sure that if I clicked on the link that you got, that I would get into this. Let's see. Is it working? Is it working? Oh, I'm not sure that'll let me in because I'm actually already logged in as this. But there's Leonore. So hi, Leonore. How's it going?
Hi, sorry. Good. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. I had a little bit of trouble logging in, but
yeah, no, I was just explaining that I had some issues with the link. So I'm hoping that everybody's able to get in and that it's all fabulous. Type hello, welcome. Great. And maybe if you could check on another browser or something, that link that I just sent out to make sure everybody can get into this, make sure that that actually gets them into this. Because I don't want to get too far into this information and then figure out, oh wait, no one can actually attend this.
Right. For sure.
It wouldn't let me do it, but I think it wouldn't let me do it because I'm logged in as the administrator.
Right.
So in the meantime, hi everybody. How's it going? How are your creative projects going? Is the weather beautiful where you are? It's beautiful where I am. I want to say that I'm super excited about doing this this program again, and this preview call, and then the program that it's leading up to. It's really buzzy for me, like I've been waking up early a lot thinking about it and thinking about you all and thinking about the problems that I hear you say you have, about the things that are getting in your way, about the issues and things that are hurting you. There's everybody piling in. Hi, everyone. Yes, I know. I'm sorry you had to try 3 times. I know it's been screwy, but yay, team. Way to be here. Way to way to make the effort, a way to stick with it, because I know, like I said, I know that tech stuff can be super duper stressful for a lot of people. It can stress you out. So in response to that stress, in response to anything that's been happening for you, I want you to go ahead and do this breathing exercise with me. And it's just a really quick thing. You can ignore it if you want. It only takes a second. But it's a wonderful way to remind you that you are in the center of your life, that whatever is happening around you, you are you. You are the unique expression of you. There's only one of you, and you matter. And you're here now, which is amazing. So if you can, just drop your shoulders down and back and soften your heart, soften your belly, let your belly go really poochy soft, and soften your gaze. And take this opportunity to give yourself a really nice compliment. Just something nice about you. I know that can be challenging for a lot of you, but go ahead and try. If somebody said, hey, you know what's nice about you is that you are so da-da-da-da. How might someone finish that sentence? All right, you ready? We're going to inhale for 4, hold for 7, and exhale for 8, and we'll just do that one time. You ready? Let's inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for doing that with me. I want to do a little bit of administrative stuff. I want to introduce my right-hand girl, my lead coach, my team leader, Leonore Chia. Hi, Leonore.
Hi, so nice to be here with everybody.
Leonore is in Vermont. I'm in Southern California, so we're almost as far apart as two people can get, and yet in our hearts we are very close. Also, yesterday was Leonore's birthday, so if you want to wish her a happy birthday, it's probably not too late for that.
Thank you. Yes, I also just moved and am dealing with the post-moving internet situation, so I only get internet from my neighbor. So I'm currently doing this webinar from sitting on my bed, just to be clear. Yes.
Beauty and joy of
So
working from home.
Way to start. I'm starting right where I am.
Start right where you are. Make it work. So if your internet cuts out or we lose you, just don't worry about it. Everything's fine. Great. We've got people from all over Chicago, my hometown, the Windy City. Hi, everybody. Toronto, wonderful. Hi, everybody. Great to see you. The first thing I want to say, first of all, if you are having trouble with this, with the video stream, let me give you a few pointers. One is close all your other windows and applications. Any other open browser windows, if you've got anything that syncs automatically like Dropbox or Arc or any other kind of automated backup, pause that, because these webinars are fantastic, but they eat up a lot of space and a lot of memory. So close everything that you're not using and be here now with me. You can also, for me, if I run my mouse up over the screen, there's a little bar that shows up, and one of them looks like a gear, and that's where it's settings, and you can actually change your settings so that I take up less bandwidth. So the picture may not be as good, but that should be synced up a little bit better. So if you have any of those issues, those are my suggestions. Close all your other windows and change the settings. I woke up this morning with this big idea that I just really wanted to talk to you guys. So I will stay on the line for as long as you all have questions. So as I'm talking, as I'm moving through this material, if something comes up for you, if something sort of hits you on the head or tugs on the shoulder, like, how is that showing up in my life? Or how does that really work? Or I'm not sure what you mean by that, Sam. Go ahead and make a note or type it into the webcast, and I will answer your questions. That's what I'm here for. So I'm excited to do that, and I'll just stay on the line for as long as you have questions. It may not be very long, or we may be here all day. I don't know. The third thing I want to say to you about this webinar is this material, for almost all of you, a lot of what I'm going to say will not sound that new to you, because this is not your first trip around the self-help block. You know, this is not your first creativity rodeo, if you know what I'm saying. A lot of it may seem simple, but I urge you to think of it as deceptively simple. And here's what I mean by that. That little breathing exercise we just did. Inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. Now, I'm sure you've been told to breathe a million times in your life. It's probably advice you give to other people. It's advice you've heard. You may have even done some pranayama practice or some other kind of actual breathing discipline. You may be a singer, right? You may be very aware of the strength and power of your breath. So I can sit here and say, let's do breathing, and your brain intellectually is going to go, yes, of course, breathing, yes, I know all about that. I know how to breathe. I know how important that is. Yeah, I got it. But if you are walking through your day experiencing stress, adrenal fatigue, burnout, short-temperedness, loss of sense of humor, road rage, anxiety, grief, sadness, then you are not breathing. Now, I'm not saying breathing cures all of those things, but it helps. So all this stuff that you're thinking like, oh, I know that. Yes, but are you doing it? Because if you did that breathing thing with me just now, and then maybe you do it again later on in this webinar when something sort of triggers you emotionally a little bit, maybe, and then maybe you do it again in the car later on today, and then you do it again maybe while you're making supper or you get exasperated with somebody in your family, and then maybe you do it again while you're having sex with yourself or someone else. And then you do it again when you're falling asleep. Now you will really start to experience the power of that breathing practice. You see what I mean? So anytime you catch yourself thinking like, oh, Sam, I already know that, or oh, this is basic, dive a little deeper and ask yourself, am I doing it? And am I seeing the results of it? Because if you are not seeing the results of it in your life, you are not doing it. You understand it intellectually, of course you do. You're brilliant, intelligent people. It's not, hard to understand, but it's hard to do. It's hard to make manifest. So that's what I'm going to be talking about, is how do we take these things that maybe we already know, but get past the shadow of, oh, that's too simple, and into the really juiciness of actually doing it. So that's my challenge for you all. I want to check in on the Q&A. Hi, everybody. This looks great. Nice to see you. Yes, coming back to hear it again and again. Yeah, I know a lot of people watch these videos and listen to some of my teleclasses over and over and over again. And I really recommend that. I know I have recordings that I listen to over and over again. And part of what's great about it is that every time you come to the work, every time you come to the question, you're new. You're a different person. You're bringing different problems, different concerns, different thoughts, different attitudes. But also sometimes when you're listening to something that's really inspiring, you get inspired by an idea and then you sort of space out on that idea for a couple of minutes and you miss the next couple of sentences that the presenter is saying. It's happened to me. So I'll be listening to a recording that I've listened to before and all of a sudden go, wait, has that always been on there? I've never heard that before. And it's because the last time I listened to it, I went on a little mental trip, right? So I'm glad that you're here again. You're here because you're not getting everything you want. And not in some fairy tale magical way, but really, you're not getting the gratification from your creative life. You're not feeling fully expressed. I know, many of you may have jobs, you may have part-time jobs or full-time jobs, and you feel like the minute you walk into that building, 50% of you just isn't welcome. They just don't want all of you. They want some of you. But they don't care about who you are as an artist. They don't care about who you are as a spiritual person. They don't care about who you are as a sexual person or a parental person or a friend person or a sense of humor person. They care about the part of you that does the job. And when you're spending a good portion of your day feeling like you're leaving 50% of yourself at the door, that's soul destroying. That's soul destroying. And those of you who feel like, oh, I'm sitting under fluorescent lights and they're sucking my soul away, that's because sitting under fluorescent lights actually sucks your soul away. There's documented proof, I'm sure of it. There's studies, there must be. It's science. So I want you to type in, what is it that you feel is not getting expressed? What part of you is sort of knocking at the door? What part of you has maybe been neglected or set to the side for a while that you would really love to see blossom? Maybe you'd love to have your sense of humor be more present. Maybe you'd love to have your spirituality and your connection to the divine be more present. Maybe you would like your singing or your writing or your friendships, your sense of fun. What part of you is just really feeling lacking? I'm kind of curious to know what that is. Where's the lack of juiciness? That's what I want to know. And I know there's a little lag time between when I ask the questions and when you type and then when I see it. So I'm going to review a little bit to see if there's any questions I've missed. Steph says, hi, Sam. I've been reading Get It Done. Yay! There it is. Get It Done, From Procrastination to Creative Genius in 15 Minutes a Day. Available at your local independent bookseller and Amazon. Whoops, I lost her. Where'd she go? And I've started a project 2 weeks ago, which I've since abandoned. I'm wondering about how to know when a project is just not right. That's a great question, Steph. It depends a little bit on what your track record is. If your track record on getting projects done is pretty good, like you can sort of count on yourself to execute things, like once you have an idea, you pretty much put it into motion, then you can sort of trust yourself. If you're not doing it, it probably doesn't need to be done, or it's not the right time for it to be done. So you may want to set it aside. If, however, you have a track record of bailing out on yourself, then this is your opportunity to be a little more disciplined. And see if there's some way you can't make that project more fun for yourself. get more curious about the project. One of the things we did the last time I did this preview call that really worked well for people is imagine the project in front of you. Like just let it pop into view, and maybe it looks like itself, or maybe it looks like a box or a circle or something. And ask the project itself what it wants. Ask the project what the best next step is. Ask the project if it has any insights for you on how to do it. Because there isn't any hard and fast rule, you know. There isn't a way to know for sure, but there is a way to develop and trust your intuition, which is a lot about what Start Right Where You Are is about. So let's see. Find my sensuality and joy. Yes. Getting more freedom in my work. Yes. Yes. Getting out of survival mode. Financial prosperity and the fun in it all. Yes. Imagining. Great. Writing. It's being set aside by my fear of self-expression. Going from project to project, trying to make money. Yes. 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 Second guessing whether I'm good enough. Constantly editing. What the best next step is. I have bad gas. You have bad gas. Well, honey, there's medicine for that, and yoga poses. Try going into child pose. Let's go ahead and erase some of those, because that's, well, I'm sure you're terribly amusing. You're taking up a lot of space. Steph says, I love that exercise. Yeah, that's a big help. Good. Playfulness and joy. Excellent. Good. Good. Yes. So those lacking motivation to get it done. Right. So understanding that there is some part of you that is just not getting enough airtime is what we're going to be working on in this next time together. It may be showing up as clutter in your house or in your work on your desk. It may be showing up as clutter inside of your mind. It may be showing up as a lot of repetitive thoughts, old tapes that are going over and over again, self-doubt. A lot of you mentioned second guessing yourself. It may be showing up as draining relationships, right? Relationships in which you're putting out a lot but not getting very much back. It may show up as feeling like you're on a treadmill, constantly busy, but not really feeling like you're getting anywhere. And it may be, you may be just feeling disappointed. You know, like this is just not all it's cracked up to be. And you know there's more, you know you could be giving more and doing more, and it's just not happening. So if that all seems familiar to you, then you're in the right place. For those of you who don't know me, and some of you don't, because many of you were invited by my good friend Lisa Tenner, or some of our other friends and affiliates to this. So my name is Sam Bennett. I'm the creator of the organizedartistcompany.com. And my background's in theater. I'm an actor. I've done a lot of film and television work. I've done a lot of theater. I grew up in Chicago, and I worked with the Second City there for about 10 years almost. So I have a lot of friends in the comedy world and the improv world. And in 2009, so, you know, for many years I was just living the actor's life in Chicago and Los Angeles, which meant that I was juggling a million part-time jobs and gigs. And, you know, I delivered flowers, I did scarf tying demonstrations, I was an administrative assistant, I produced radio dramas, I starred in radio dramas, I had television shows and theater play. I mean, it was a ton of work. It was super exciting and fun, but financially disastrous. And one of the things I started doing was teaching this workshop called Get It Done. And in 2009, I realized that I had actually created a body of work that could be called the Organized Artist Company. And I started doing that full time. And I became an Infusionsoft certified consultant. So I have a secret life as a marketing automation specialist. If you ever want to talk about email marketing, I'm your girl. And I've won an award for marketing. I got a book published. I've grown my business from $0 to we're well into the high six figures this year. We'll probably cross $1 million next year. And I did it all my way. You know, I didn't really follow anybody's rules to do it. And now I live in this dream little beach town that I love so much. I'm half a block from the ocean and I go swimming. Leonore came to visit. We had a business meeting out in the Pacific Ocean one day. And And I have lots of time to read and to write and to be with my friends and be with my sweetheart and cook and do all the things that I have my prayer and meditation practice. So I say all this to let you know that it's possible. It's possible. It's possible for you to have all the things in your life that you want and to have it your way, to not have to sacrifice who you are or the things you love or the way you like to be in the world to have those things. I've helped, thousands of people get unstuck. I do have a course coming up. So I'm going to talk to you about 5 of the reasons I can see that you're not getting what you want and maybe what to do about it a little bit. And we're also going to talk about a course that I have coming up called Start Right Where You Are. StartRightWhereYouAre.com. And it's a $197 course. It starts next week. We're going to spend about 5 minutes talking about that a little bit later. And then I'm going to tell you the one spiritual breakthrough that I had that changed everything for me. And maybe it'll change everything for you. I'm going to check in on our Q&As. Great.
Do you want me to read some of these? Do you want to come back to this later?
Yeah, well, if there's anything that feels like it's sort of burning right now, let's go ahead and look at it.
Yeah, so here's a question that you may answer this as we go along, but Anna asks, what if there are multiple ways of getting the project done, or there are multiple projects vying for attention, all made more difficult due to making a living and not having energy left over?
Right. Good noticing. Okay, so you're right. You only have a certain amount of energy every day. So my big thing is 15 minutes a day, every single day, before you check your email, spend 15 minutes a day on the project that matters most to you, the one that is closest to your heart. I recommend doing it right when you get up in the morning, just because for me, the day sort of slides away from me otherwise. But it may work for you to do it during your lunch hour or during an afternoon coffee break or in the evening or at night, whatever works for you. And there's always multiple ways to get a project done. So what you really want to look for is what's your way? How do you love to approach things? Let's leverage your natural creativity, your natural energy flow. And yeah, pick one. Quit distracting yourself with having 9 or 10 great ideas or 3 or 4. Pick one, and even just for the week. Say I'm going to spend 15 minutes a day, every single day for a week, and maybe you're even just spending the 15 minutes staring at a blank piece of paper. That's fine. Nobody ever died from 15 minutes of boredom. A little enforced boredom can be very good for a person. And give yourself the sense that, like I was saying earlier, that you're experimenting, that you're curious about the project, that you want to see what the project wants, how it leads you, and really start to pay attention to those little inner whispers, those little inner intuitions, because there isn't a right way. There's just your way. I'm going to say that again. There isn't a right way. There's only your way. Good question. Let's see. Catherine says, I feel ready to show up being versus doing as I build my coaching practice. I want to build this business differently, getting it done and not leaving that 50% behind during the process. Excellent. Excellent. So yeah, so make a little sign for yourself. Whatever it is that you really want to make sure that you're bringing into your coaching practice, whether it's your spirituality, your sexuality, your sense of fun, your financial abundance, color, lightness, song, whatever it is, write it on there and put it in front of yourself so that every time you're making a decision about your business, those things are in there. Your kindness is in there. Your authenticity is in there. Your transparency is in there. Your goodwill and good humor is in there. And then don't let it out of the house until it matches those qualities. You have 100% control. We'll be talking about control a little bit later on. So let me go into this first. Here's one reason, of the 5 of the reasons why you're not getting more of what you want and what to do about it. The number one reason I hear most often is you don't have the time. You just don't have the time. And if that's true for you, go ahead and write the word time in there. And that'll be raising your hand going like, yes, Sam, it's true. I would totally get it done, except I don't have the time. I'm too busy with the kids. I'm too busy with the work. I'm too busy with school. I'm too busy with my 3 different jobs. I'm too busy with my partner. I'm too busy with my parents. There's a health crisis. There's a financial crisis. There's a new baby in the house. I do not have the time. If that's true of you, go ahead and write time in there. Or maybe you feel like it's not the right time. Like you have the time, but it's not the right time. Like maybe you feel like you're not quite qualified, or you need another certification, or you're not really ready. Or maybe you feel like there's going to be a point in the future in which it will be the right time. Like as soon as the kids are out of the house, that's when I'll do it. Or as soon as I lose 20 pounds, that's when I'll do it. Or as soon as I'm, have more information about this or that or the other thing, that's when I'll do it. So you either feel like it's not enough time, it's not the right time, you're not ready, or it's not the right time, like the circumstances aren't right. I'm getting a lot of it. Time. Right, exactly. And Catherine chimes in, awesome, very helpful answers. So joyfully actionable, I'm on it. Catherine, if I had to use one phrase to describe my work, joyfully actionable would be it. I love that phrase. I'm going to borrow that right out from under you. Thank you. I'm glad that helped. Yeah, okay. So here's the thing, and I'm going to bring down the hammer of sunshine upon you. You ready? You have the time. You have the time. And I know you have the time because we all get the same amount of time. Everyone gets the same 24 hours. No one doesn't get that. And everyone gets it. I have the same amount of time as you have, as Leonore has, as Catherine has, as Mally has, as Stacy has, as Mark has. All of you get the same amount of time. So it's not like somebody's got more of it. You're just allocating it differently. And you're choosing not to allocate it towards the things that you know would matter most to you. You know that would make the biggest difference to you. So let me go back to my previous challenge. 15 minutes a day. 15 minutes a day. Every single day. I guarantee you, you can find 15 minutes. And I guarantee you that if you spend 15 minutes a day, every single day, on the stuff that matters most to you, whatever that is, playing guitar, prayer and meditation, yoga, breathing, walking, singing, ukulele, I don't know, you will see amazing progress. And it's brilliant too, because it slips right past your perfectionism. Because there's no way you can make it perfect in 15 minutes. So you're just going to do a little bit and then walk away from it. Do a little bit, walk away from it. Do a little bit, walk away from it. And I guarantee you, you'll start to see results, because what happens is you're not thinking about it, you're engaging with it. And the minute you're engaging with your project, it takes to take on life. You know how that is, right? You get into something and it starts to unfold and things are different. And you know how this is, like you take a couple of tiny steps and then the universe comes rushing at you. I can explain to you why that happens, and I'm going to do it at the end of the call to make you stay on, because I know you want to know the answer to this, and it was a mind blower for me when I figured it out. So this is my answer to you, is that you have the 15 minutes a day. And go ahead and just imagine for yourself, if you were spending that 15 minutes a day on whatever your project was, how might you feel different? How would your mood be different? What might show up for you? How might you be in the world a little differently? And go ahead and type it in. I'm curious to see what you think the difference might be if you were spending even just 15 minutes a day on the project that matters most to you. The clutter clearing, the taxes. Doesn't have to be something fun. It just has to be something that needs to get done that you're not doing, something that you know would make a difference for you. And so Thorley says, it takes me 15 minutes just to set up and another 15 to wrap up to work on clay sculpture. Right. I hear this a lot. So what I invite you to do is use your brilliant creative brain to figure out a way around that. So it may be you spend 15 minutes a day sketching. It may be that you have some small piece that you keep ready, that you keep damp. you know? It may be, I don't know that much about working with clay, so I'm going to ask you to engage your creativity to figure out a way around that. Some of you may have heard the story. I had worked with a jewelry designer one time. And I love my private clients because they pay me so much money, they have to do what I say. And I told her the 15-minute a day thing, and she insisted to me that there was no way. She's like, it takes me 15 minutes just to get set up. And I said, well, yeah, but play around with the idea. And what she ended up doing was making herself like a little toolkit with all her stuff, like a little tray sort of with all her stuff in it. So she could just take it out, do a little work, put it back. Well, in a week, she had made 3 necklaces, which was 3 more necklaces than she had made in the previous 6 months. So then she's thinking maybe there's something to this 15-minute thing. And she had this little tray thing. So she took it to her other gig, which was, well, let me say this. She was working in a cubicle. She had a full-time job that she hated. And she was training to become a tattoo artist. And so she started taking her jewelry stuff, because she had it in this little tray kit now. She started taking it to the tattoo parlor when she was there apprenticing for the downtimes, when there was no tattooing to be done. Well, they didn't know that she made jewelry. So the minute they started to see what she was working on, they started to sell the jewelry at the tattoo parlor. Now, between the tattooing and the jewelry, she's making enough money to quit the full-time job and make her living doing the work that she loves. She then applied the 15-minute thing to a painting, which got even more interesting because she had the same sort of feeling of like, oh my gosh, the paints don't even get out for 15 minutes. But she set up a system for herself and made it work and completed a rather gigantic oil painting in in 4 months or something. So it can be done. It can be done. And again, maybe it's 15 minutes doodling, drawing, working on colors, shapes, something else. Maybe you start playing with Sculpey just for fun. So don't reject the idea out of hand. Don't reject the idea out of hand. Good. Mally says, for creative projects, as it is supposed to be my job, 15 minutes wouldn't be enough. But when I think of decluttering, something I've avoided since years, it feels damn good to think of those 15 minutes. Yeah. So Linda says if she were doing it, she would feel better about herself. She would know she's making progress. Yes. Shayna says, I would instantly feel better because I'm making myself my priority. I've been doing this. It totally works, right? Amen. Robin says, I would feel like I was getting something done and it would feel empowering. Larry says he'd feel relieved. Nanette says she'd feel more playful. Bree says increased confidence. Steph, feel more connected and peaceful. Visualize it. Yes. Good. So, will you take the pledge? Yes, Sam, I will spend 15 minutes a day, every single day, on the project that I know will make the biggest difference to me. And I'll tell you what, when you are claiming that time for yourself, it's going to have ripple effects all over your life. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. And those results that you guys named, they're going to be there immediately, and 100 other results you've never even thought of. And it's so simple. Start right where you are, 15 minutes a day. Good. Jerry says it would eliminate all my BS excuses and distractions. Well, amen to that, brother, for sure.
Catherine says, I would be so in the flow, attracting clients and creating beneficial offerings. The money would come as a side benefit of me living my passion of partnering with people in their self-discovery process.
Yes, I love that. Good. Yeah. If you're having trouble with the freezing, you can re-click on the link and log out and log back in, and that usually solves the problems. And again, you can also adjust the settings there. Jerry says, I absolutely commit to this now. Nice. I like it. Good. So drop the story. Drop the story that you don't have time, because you do have time. And get out of this cult of busy. Like, there's this thing going around the world, like busy is the only possible thing. And everybody's like, I'm so busy. I'm doing this and I'm so busy. I work and then I have to do this and then I have to do that and I'm so busy. And it was like, really? You think you're busy? I'm more busy. Like this game of busy poker. Drop it. Just drop the story. You're making the choices in your life. You decide. Be joyful in your busyness. Be busy without the story of being stressed out. That's my thought for you. Good. So, great. We got people committing to it. I love it. So little change, big difference. Little change, big difference. Good. So here's another reason of the 5 reasons why I think you're not getting what you want. One is you think you don't have the time. The other is like you've got some emotional baggage around it. You've got some negativity, some negative thoughts, like you've been burned before, that kind of thing. You know, maybe your 3rd grade teacher told you weren't a good writer. Or maybe your mom told you that artists were selfish or that artists never make money. Or maybe you've done it. You know, maybe you tried to display your work or submit your work and it didn't work. You know, you got burned. Or you had when it got into a bad partnership and it didn't work out. And if that's true, if you go ahead and type like heartbreak, just the word heartbreak in there, like, yes, Sam, that happened to me, and that's why I think I'm not moving forward. It's because I got my heart broken. I'm curious to see how many of you feel like that's something that's keeping you stuck because, yeah, because of something somebody said, because of something that actually happened, some wound, some burden around it. Like it used to feel fun and now it feels painful because you got hurt. I'm curious to know. You can just type the word heartbreak. Yeah. Lack of confidence, overwhelming, the age-old internal fear. Yep. Good. So yeah, heartbreak. Yeah, okay, good. Thank you for being honest about that, because I know that's not always an easy thing to admit to. Pardon me. Here's what I have to say to you about that. Yes, that happened. Yes, you got your heart broken. Somebody said something hurtful. You made a bad judgment. You picked a bad partner. You got bad reviews. You got stomped on. You got kicked. You lost a lot of money. You tried and failed. You fell on your face publicly in a really ugly way. Yes, of course that happened. Because that's what happens. That's how we learn. It's like love affairs. They're not all meant to be perfect songs of joy and rainbows. You'd never learn anything. If that were the case, of course you fell on your face. Of course you got your heart broken. Of course you made the wrong decision. Of course you partnered with the wrong person. Of course you got a bad review. That's how you know you're in it. Life is not meant to be an endless skipping of success to success to success to success. It is about the obstacles. It is about the failures. It is about the falling down, and it is about the getting up. Yes, you had that one thing happen, or those 10 things happen, but they happened. You're the one keeping it alive right now. Your 3rd grade teacher isn't telling you you're a failure right now. Your mom isn't in the room with you telling you that artists are selfish right now. I mean, maybe she is, but you know, chances are she's not. That one thing happened. Let it be in the past. Look at the lesson from it. What did I learn? How did it change me for the better? What was the note? What was underneath it? Like, yes, there's the pain, but the pain comes from growing. The pain comes from getting humbled. The pain comes from how high your expectations were and how dashed they got in reality. And that's just the way it goes. Every artist I know, and I'm talking about Emmy Award winners, Academy Award winners, people who get 6-figure book advances, people who are incredibly successful coaches, every single one of them has crushing stories of failure and heartbreak. Really, really amazing stories of things that were like physical pain, emotional pain, financial disasters, bad reviews, public shunning. I mean, really, it's happened to the best people you know. So quit thinking that it's something that happened to you and start realizing that it's something that happened for you. It's something that happened for you to grow past. It's an opportunity for you. And I don't mean to get all glib like, oh, everything happens for a reason and it's all in your attitude. I don't know if everything happens for a reason. I'm not really convinced that everything happens for a reason. But what I do know is that we get to decide what the reasons are. We get to decide what the meaning is. We are the meaning makers of our lives, and especially you guys, because you're creatives, you're the storytellers. That's what you do, is tell stories. Through your music, through your photographs, through your needlework, you tell stories. So take another look at that story that's keeping you stuck and see if it can't be the story that moves you forward, that inspires you forward. And just remember, it's going to make a great interview later. And you're like, oh, you have no idea how low I got. And now look how high I am, right? It's supposed to be hard. And one quick way you could start to retell this story is, instead of saying, you know, I wanted to be a singer, but my boyfriend wasn't very supportive. I wanted to do this, but I got discouraged. I wanted to do this, but, is make it and. Turn it into an and statement. I wanted to be a singer and I got bad feedback. I want to be a writer and my partner's not very encouraging. I want to be an actor and I've gotten bad reviews. I want to be a coach and I have no credentials. Do you feel the possibility? Do you feel the road before you? Like, oh, and. I want to teach this and I have had experience of failure at this. Of course you have. That's part of what makes you an expert. I think there might have been some questions that came in. Christopher says, my kindergarten teacher held up my work in front of class and humiliated me by saying, see, he can't color within the lines. Christopher, I'm so sorry that happened. And I'm so sorry that you had a teacher who had so little vision and such incredible insecurity that they believed that coloring inside the lines was an important life skill. I think we all know that the lines are there to be colored outside of. Forgive that teacher. That poor teacher was just doing the best they knew how to do with the information they had at the time. They were trying to help you. Seems weird, I know. They were trying to do what they thought was best for you. So say thank you for your incredibly sucky version of best. We're all doing our best. Sometimes our best sucks. So forgive that teacher. Forgive yourself for believing them. And get out your pens. They're called magic markers for a reason. They got magic in them. Bust out those crayons. And see if you can't find some other places in your life where you could color outside the lines. This could get really fun for you. Yes, Robin says the and statement, very powerful. Yes, exactly. Good. Good. Mally says, it's heartbreak with myself, and I feel so disappointed with myself sometimes. Of course. A death, exactly. People die all the time. It's going to happen to you too, and we'll all be very sad. It's not a reason to stop. It's a reason to keep going. So be very, very gentle with yourself. Be very, very gentle with the other people who were involved in those stories. Those people who hurt you and abandoned you and said mean things and did the wrong thing and stole your work and plagiarized and stole your money and stole your ideas. And yeah, it happens to everyone. It didn't just happen to you. It's happened to everyone. Nobody gets more pain than anybody else. This is a little radical, so I'll say it again. Everybody gets the same amount of pain. In the same way we all get the same 24 hours, we all get the same amount of pain. I know, and I've gotten some strong response to that when I've said it before. And I don't have time to dive all the way into why that's true, and I know that some people have more like dramatic stories. It feels like, no, that person got way more pain than I do, or I got way more pain than that person did. But I'm here to tell you, my experience is that everybody's life is as hard for them as your life is for you. Everybody's life is as hard for them as your life is for you. Nobody gets a free pass. And even the things that look like they're getting a free pass, like, oh, well, they're so beautiful, or, oh, they have so much money, or they're so well connected, or they're so successful, I guarantee you that is not making it easier for them. It's probably making it harder. I was just hanging out with a friend of mine the other day who's very successful, and she also happens to be very beautiful. Like, in a really classic, all-American, blonde, beautiful features. She's very slender. She's beautiful. She's just a beautiful woman. And she admitted to me one time, she's like, you have no idea. She goes, people just automatically assume I'm a bitch or that I'm shallow. She goes, like, I spend all this time trying to convince people that I'm like a person, you know, like I have a soul and I care and I have a sense of humor and I'm not just this face that she didn't even ask for. It's not so easy to be so beautiful. You wonder if anybody even sees you. So yeah, be super gentle with yourself. Turn that but into an and. And it's a great way to spend your 15 minutes a day. If you don't know what project to start on, start with some of those heartbreaks. Make some art out of it. Oh, make some art out of that heartbreak. Write a play about that little kid in kindergarten. Write a play about that teacher. Right? Make a song about it. Make a dance about it. Make a sculpey about it. What does that look like? What does that heartbreak look like? What does that death look like? What does that loss look like? What does it feel like? Believe me, the minute you turn those feelings into art, you will be transformed. Little change, big difference. And it can be really little. Like we have our annual 3-day event called the Big Big Yes. And this year we had over 100 people in the room. It was fantastic. And one of the women asked me in the middle of it, sort of, she's like, okay, wait, Sam, you keep saying this, make art out of it, make art out of it, make art out of it. She's like, I don't know what you mean. I don't get it. Like, what would that be? And I said, well, right now, make up a little song about how it feels to not understand what I mean. And she, like, without missing a beat, she goes, I don't get it, I don't get it, I don't get it, I don't get it, I don't get it. And everybody totally fell out. And now we had a song. I'm like, we all know that feeling. We all know that feeling of I don't get it. Like, that's brilliant. And now you've taken that feeling and you've expressed it in a way that we can all understand it and relate to it and talk about it. And then it became kind of a thing the rest of the weekend. I don't get it, I don't get it, I don't get it. Because, you know, we all go a little dumb sometimes. So, yes. Good. Let's see, how are we doing here? Forgive the person who hurt you and for yourself for believing them. Yes, exactly.
Sheena says, living well is the best revenge. I don't like the word revenge, but it reminds me that moving on in spite of what happened and living my own life is what matters.
That's right. That's right.
Mally says, I remember a friend at art school, the comic strip teacher said she's never been a good comics artist, and now she's the best of our prom and makes a lot of money doing comics.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. If you're having tech issues, just a reminder to hit refresh or just close the window or possibly restart your browser and then just go back to your email and pull up the link again and log back in. Anna says, I got castrated at 21. I'm 63. Most of the time, still determined to succeed with my projects. Grief and rage are hard ones to overcome, but I will make some art out of it. So thank you.
Great. Great. Excellent. Good. Good. You guys are doing great, great reminders. Cynthia says, nothing I write shows up, but it is showing up right there. Catherine says, yes, I'd forgotten. I used to write poetry to forge my way out of struggles. Thanks for the reminder. Oh, yeah. And even if it's, you know, it can be terrible poetry that you've never shown to anybody, it can also be great poetry. Because, you know, the art that you create to get over your grief and heartbreak helps me with my grief and heartbreak. That's what art does. Art explains our feelings to us. Art explains our feelings to us. We experience art and we go, oh, that's right. I remember. I'm not alone. It expands our humanity and it changes the world. Good. All right, so number 3 on the hit parade of reasons that you're not getting everything you want and why and what to do about it. We've talked about believing that it's not the right time or you don't have enough time. We've talked about the emotional baggage, the negative feelings. And I know some of you might think that the reason that you're not moving ahead, it may be some of those first two things, but really it's just outside circumstances. Like it's because you've got this full-time job, or it's because you're, in a relationship that's not supportive, or you've got your, taking care of kids and ailing parents, or there's some kind of financial crisis or health crisis. Like you would do it, except for what's happening out there, the economy, something else, them, him, her, the boss. So if that's true of you, go ahead and type them or circumstances. If you believe that it's them or circumstances are the reasons that if you're like, Sam, seriously, I promise you I would totally be moving forward on my stuff except for them, except for that person stopping me, or those circumstances which are stopping me. If that's you, then go ahead and type in them or circumstances. Ellen says, can you see this question? Yes, I can see the question. Good. It is a little funny on the chat roll too. Like I said, there's a little delay, and then sometimes things fall off the roll before I get a chance to see them. So that's partly why Leonore's here, is to help keep an eye on everything and respond to your questions and make sure you get heard. Good. So them or circumstances. Them or circumstances. Like it's something outside. Yep. Circumstances. Circumstances. Them. Good. 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 Yeah, that's I know that feels really real. Really real. And I know you guys are like, no, Sam, it doesn't just feel really real. It is really real. I get it. I get it. Here's the problem. Them. Larry says, yes, I've said yes to too many requests for my time. Right. Yes. Circumstances. Myself. Yes. Circumstances. Good, good, good. Okay. So here's the problem. It may well be them, and it may well be the circumstances. But guess what? You have zero control over that. I mean, you might have a little bit of control, like in terms of what you say yes to and, making different requests around people's behavior. But in general, people are being the people that they're being. And the economy is the economy. Your job's the job. Your boss is the boss. Your mom's your mom. The person's the person. Like, they just are what they are. And you can wish and beg and cajole and cry, and they will not change. So, all those things that you cannot control, stop trying to control them. Stop trying to control the things you cannot control. Give up control over the things over which you have no control. And not only give up control, but get your focus off it. Stop complaining about it. Stop telling stories about it. Stop whining and crying about it. Stop praying the problem. Praying the problem is when you call up a friend and be like, you won't believe what happened to me. And then you tell them the whole story. And then you call up another friend and go, you won't believe what happened to me. And then you tell them the whole story, right? Stop, just knock it off. Just stop putting your energy towards those things you cannot control. Ignore them, even. Ignore the feeling you have about them. Ignore how shut down they make you feel. Just ignore it. Just don't give it any attention at all. And what you're going to put your attention on instead is the thing over which you have absolute control, which is you. You have 100% control over you. And that's where you're going to put your focus. You have 100% control over what you eat, unless you're in some very extreme circumstances. You have 100% control over how consciously you breathe. You have 100% control over how much you pray. You have 100% control over how many kind thoughts you think. You have 100% control over the stories you tell yourself. You have 100% control over the things you say yes or no to. And I know you may not, it's like, well, Sam, I have control, but I don't want to take the consequences. Okay, fine. Fine. Like I say yes because I don't want to hurt that person's feelings. Fine. Then be in control of that. Say, yes, I am doing this because I don't want to take the consequences of saying no. And then own it. It's not their fault you don't want to take the consequences of saying no. They asked you a question and you answered yes. So stop trying to control the things that you have no control over. Like I said, all those people out there, they're doing the best they can. They're doing the absolute best they can with the information they have at the time. Just like you're doing the best you can. Their best may be kind of crappy. They may not speak your language. It's still the best they can do. Bless them and forget them. Quit letting them take up so much space inside your mind. Instead, focus on you. And if that's calling up like, well, that would be selfish or that would be self-centered. Yes. Yes. Yourself. You're a creative person. You're an artist. You are the mechanism for your art. You have to be focused on you. You are the driver of the car. Like I said, you are the meaning maker of your life. You are the agent of change. Not someone else. No one else can do it for you. You have to do it. So get your sticky fingers off of everybody else's business and start focusing on the things that you yourself can control. And here's what happens. I mean, I know sometimes people are like, oh, you can manifest things, or like, if you're vibrating, if your vibrations are right, then you just attract other things that are your vibration. And again, I'm not entirely sure that that's true. There's some interesting elements to that story, I think, that are worth looking at, but I'm not sure if it's actually true. What I do know is that when I am concentrated on finding what's good, when I'm concentrated on my breathing, on my good nutrition, on making sure that I am prayed and walked and meditated and breathed and snuggled and read and calm, when I concentrate on those things, it's not that bad things don't happen to me or happen around me, but I tend to notice them a lot less. Like I tend to give them a lot less airtime. It's a little like, remember the last time you fell in love? Like fell in love, and you're like, I'm so happy. No one's ever been so happy. This is the best thing ever. I don't know why everyone isn't this happy all the time, right? You were super annoying because you were totally in love. And the Trader Joe's parking lot was still a complete disaster, and your sister was still rude, and your boss was still an ass, and taxes were still taxes. Those things didn't change, but your attitude, you were so happy you didn't even care, right? You just didn't care. You were like, whatever, I'm happy, I'm in love. Well, fall in love with you. Fall in love with you. Get sparkly-eyed over you. And then the Trader Joe's parking lot is an opportunity to exercise your Christianity. I have a friend who's a big Jesus guy, and he says he likes going to the airport because he's decided it's his opportunity to be as much Jesus as he can possibly be. Like he wants to be the nicest, best person that anybody at the airport talks to that day. Which I thought that is the best way of dealing with an airport, because I fly out of LAX, which is a nightmare by anybody's standards. But if you go into it with this attitude of like, I'm going to see how much joy I can spread around. I'm going to see how polite and fun and nice I can be. And all of a sudden, I'm not tired or stressed out from traveling. I'm joyful. And I have some great conversations with people. So quit focusing on the wrong things. Quit trying to control the things you can't control. And exert control over the things over which you have complete control, which is what you think, and how you breathe, and those 15 minutes a day. You with me? Yeah, Mally says, I always feel selfish when I focus on myself. Judeo-Christian education, maybe. Yeah, it's partly Judeo-Christian education. It's partly how we're wired. We're tribal animals, right? So, and we know, our animal brain, our limbic system knows that we cannot survive alone. So we are hardwired to behave in a way that's going to make the group happy. That's why we care about other people's opinions so much, right? That's why we are people pleasers. People say that like as a bad thing. It's a beautiful thing to be a people pleaser. Yes, you should please other people. Don't take more than your share. Contribute to the group. Don't talk behind someone's back. All of those etiquette rules are really group survival rules, right? So it's true. The lesson I tried to teach you as a child, don't be selfish. Don't think about yourself too much. That was an important rule for you to remember so that you could live successfully in the group. But guess what? It worked. Like, you got it. You got the lesson. You are not suddenly going to turn into some rapacious, grabby, greedy person. It's not going to happen. I guarantee you it is not going to happen. So you can afford a little selfishness. You can afford to be self-centered. Self-centered is one of my favorite words, like center of yourself. Yes, I am in the center of myself. That's what's in the center of you. Of course, I am self-centered. Yes. Yes. I am the arbiter. I am the one in control of the things that I can control. And the things I can't control. What you got over there? Yeah.
Robin asked, presumption of Christianity? ?
No, just my Christianity. I don't care about anybody else's Christianity. Believe whatever you want. I'm wide open. I'm a big fan of all kinds of spirit, God, religion, whatever works for you. I have no opinion.
Christopher asks, what if that person in your way is who you live with? How do you forgive them? Do you have to leave them, or can you manage the situation?
Well, Christopher, that's a great question. And no one knows the answer to that but you. I will tell you straight up from my own experience and from my intuition that if you are having the feeling maybe I should leave, it's probably time to leave. So I don't want to encourage anybody's breakup. I mean, of course not. I want you all to live very happily, but I don't want you to be in a relationship in which you're not allowed to be your full self. And for me, it's very simple. You can tell if you are in a loving relationship because you feel loved. You can tell when you are in a loving relationship because you feel loved. You have the sensation inside of your body of love. You look at the other person and you feel love well up. Now, you may also feel anger and frustration. It's not like, again, it's not like it's all, rainbows, unicorns pooping rainbows all day long. But the overall feeling is that of safety, of respect, of joy, of turn on, of sensuality and sexuality, of anticipation. I can't wait to see this person. I can't wait to be with them. I can't wait to talk to them. And if those things aren't present, and it may be you just move out for a while, maybe just go on a writing retreat for a couple of weeks, get a short-term rental somewhere else and just see how it feels. So I realize that's not the world's most conventional advice, but then again, I'm not really into conventional advice. And again, my experience is if you're asking the question, the ship has probably sailed. That's just my guess. You can tell me if that's landing for you or if I'm just completely crazy. Okay.
Molly says, yeah, but if I focus on myself to improve my skills and my personality, etc., it's also good for others, actually.
Well, exactly. And there's the other side of it too. And some of you may have heard me say this, but this whole idea of like, oh, I can't be selfish. I have to give everything to everyone all the time. So then you say yes to everything, like Larry was saying, you overcommit your time. You don't take any time to get enough sleep, to eat properly, to pray, to walk, to meditate, to exercise, whatever you do that turns you on and fills you up. So you're walking around getting everything done for everybody else all day long. And then how do you end up? What do you like? You're depleted. You're exhausted. You have no sense of humor. You are not fun to be around. You're about to get sick, or you are sick, and then you're sneezing on everybody because you won't stay home because that would be selfish, right? This is not fun for everyone. The rest of us have to deal with you in this crappy mood that you're in because you're so busy being so self-sacrificing. If, on the other hand, you just take even just those couple of minutes. My friend Juliette Font has a beautiful talk that she gives in which she talks about white space, which is just giving yourself a little time in the day to transition. And she says, even as a mom, she would drive home from work and park like 3 blocks away before she got into home and just sit in the car for I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes. And just breathe and reflect and calm down and switch gears so that then when she arrived home, she could really be with her kids. She could really celebrate that homecoming and enjoy that time with them and not feel like she was constantly running between one thing and another. It doesn't have to be very much time, but just a little time. This thing that we think of as selfish is ultimately so generous. So generous. Good. Deborah says, it's me. I can't blame anyone else. I'm out of excuses. Yeah, well, there you go. Crystal says, bless them and forget them. That's going on my bulletin board. Yes, good.
Christopher says, as Neil Patrick Harris once said, people either energize you or rob you of your energy. You need to be with the former and leave the latter. What Sam said reminds me of that saying. NPH. I love me some Neil Patrick Harris. Yeah, exactly. And I'll put a little asterisk, I'll put a little footnote on this. For those of us who are introverts, and it really surprises people when they find out that I'm an introvert, and actually that I'm super duper shy, being in large groups, even small groups, can be draining, can feel emotionally draining, or energetically draining. It can be emotionally very rich, but energetically draining. Extroverts get their energy from being with people. They love that. I have a friend who just went to New York and she was like, oh, so great just being on the streets of New York and feeling that energy. Like I could feel myself kicking a gear and it was so exciting. And I'm like, you are such an extrovert, because I get to New York City and I'm tired. Like I just want to hide. So, make that distinction for yourself. But yeah, those phone conversations, you get off the phone, you're like, why am I friends with that person? They do nothing but run me down and discourage me and take my energy and take my advice and not do anything with it. And it's a bummer. Yeah. And you don't have to break up with them or anything, but you can just sort of gradually, just let them go. Just let them go. Okay. So I want to take a minute now to talk about start right where you are. This will take like a few minutes, and then we're going to get to, like I said, the big spiritual breakthrough that totally changed my life and could change yours. Okay, so it's called startrightwhereyouare.com. Oh, here, let me put the link up. Select offer, join the Start Right Where You Are revolution, yay. So it's startrightwhereyouare.com. This is a course that I've taught a couple of times before, and I created it because I realized that if I didn't create it, I was kind of lying. I was out of integrity with myself. The other courses I teach, like the Get It Done workshop, get your work out there, write great emails, Creative Genius CEO, these are all very practical, functional classes. I mean, there's always something about the inner game, about the spiritual game of creativity, but they tend to be very sort of externally focused. I like it when things are practical, right? So it's a lot about scheduling and budgeting and managing your time and marketing and writing and, that to-do stuff. And that's important. And I love that stuff. And if you like it too, I totally recommend those classes. But I realized that I was not talking about the part of it that was the most important part. The thing that took me from a 42-year-old, totally broke, overemployed and underpaid actor in Los Angeles to a 48-year-old, richly rewarded and totally funded and joyful life was not the stuff I was doing. It was who I was being. It was how I learned to listen to my intuition. It was how I learned to pay attention to my creative rhythms. It's how I learned how to unhook from all those hooky, dysfunctional relationships that are so delicious in their badness. It was how I learned to get rid of the clutter. It was how I learned to take time for myself and put my well-being, the engine that is me, to keep that in top performing condition. So that's what this course is. It's called Start Right Where You Are, because that's what it's really about. It's about who are you being. So the nice thing is there's very little homework.
Like, it's not like Get It Done or something where there's like project check-ins and weekly progress reports and stuff. It's really about who are you being and what are you doing. So aside from the 15 minutes a day, which, I always recommend to everybody, whether you're taking the workshop or not, there isn't a lot of work outside of class. There's 6 sessions, and they're going to be 90 minutes because I want a lot of Q&A. Like, I really want to hear your stories. I want to be able to respond to your questions. And they're going to be audio. So it's just teleclasses. It's not going to be video like this. It's just going to be teleclasses so that you can be in your car or be walking or be cooking dinner or just listening. It's also, so normally this class, I usually charge, I think, $497 for it. This year, I've dropped the price down to $197, and you can even do that in 2 payments of $114 if you want. And the reason I'm doing it is because I just heard from my publisher, this is my next book, is Start Right Where You Are, is the next book. So I want as many people in this class as I can get. I want as many teaching stories as I can get. I need you all to be my guinea pigs. So even if you're just a tiny bit interested, go ahead and sign up. Like I said, it's only $197. Satisfaction guaranteed, or your money cheerfully refunded. If you get to the end of the 6 weeks and you're like, Sam, I got nothing out of that, let me know. I will happily give you your money back. If I have not helped you, I do not want your money. So all the risk is on me. There's no risk to you. It's all on me to make a great class. And you also get a year in the 365 Club bonused into that, which is a monthly call with me. So you actually get a full year of support. And there's also a Facebook page that is just amazing. The community is amazing. The support is amazing. If you have questions, if you are having a bad day, sometimes people are like, I feel so discouraged. I hate my writing. And then everybody piles on like, oh, honey, I know, me too. And it's okay. You'll be great. It's a wonderful community. So you get that. You get a couple of PDFs of some other books that I've written, including An Artist Talks to God, which is a fairly non-denominational book that I wrote about sort of the cries of the heart of the artist. And another one I wrote called Less Crazy, More Money, 52 Secrets for Running a Serene, Profitable Business. And that's sort of a weekly thought around how to have a business without losing your mind. And that's all. I mean, it's really simple and straightforward. I did add on a bonus though, so I want to tell you about this just because we start next week, the 16th. They're on Friday. The calls are on Friday mornings, but you'll get the recordings right away and can listen to them anytime. I'm going to do a bonus call for the first 50 people who enroll. And I had said initially that I think I'm going to let you guys pick the topic, because originally I was saying that I might talk about how I got published, my publishing journey, because I know a lot of people are interested in that. But then I also had a lot of questions about how I got over my money crap. So maybe I'll do a money. So we'll do a little poll once those first 50 people are enrolled. I'll send you out a little survey, and you guys can pick the topic, or maybe I'll do a little melange. But it'll be just for you guys, and you can ask me anything you want. So that's the deal. StartRightWhereYouAre.com. $197, satisfaction guaranteed, or your money cheerfully refunded. And it's really about back to basics. Your intuition, your creative voice, overcoming that anxiety, overcoming that self-doubt, overcoming that feeling of overwhelm, and finding the ways to make your life work right now, today, to up your happiness quotient, your satisfaction quotient, your joy quotient today. Leonor, did I leave anything out?
I think you hammered it.
All right, right on. So that's Start Right Where You Are. I would love, 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 love to have you all in that course. It's one of my favorites. How do I know if I made it into the top 50? We're still under 50. So if you've enrolled up to now, you're good. There you go.
Robin says, I just watched this webinar the other day and I decided to watch this one. So cool. I love how the main message is still there, but the group and the questions are bringing a different conversation. Love it. I signed up for the Start Where You Are and I'm ready.
Yay!
Bree says, I love when I hear you speak. There are so many things that I battled back from that I feel have really made me stronger and better able to gauge people and where I should be. Thank you, Sam, for all you do to empower people that are still back there and not here yet. I'm feeling joyful listening to you. Yeah, Linda asks, is the audio a live class? Yes, it's happening live.
Yes,
so it will be Sam every week in your ear.
Sorry.
Delivering some Sam Bennett truth talk, people.
Right, the hammer of sunshine. Yes, yes. So yes, it's live. It's me teaching live, and I'll be, like I said, there'll be question and answer on every single call because I really want to know, I want to know how this lands for you. I want to know what questions you have. I want to know what ahas you have because, like I said, I got to write this book. So I just heard back I'm very excited because I just heard back from my publisher the other day. I sent her just a couple paragraphs about what I was thinking about for Start Right Where You Are, the book, and why I thought it was important and why I wanted to write it. And she got back to me immediately. I was like, I can't wait. This is perfect. When can I get the chapter summaries? So yay. For those of you who are thinking about writing a book, I highly recommend it. It's so much fun. And I had a great experience. It was not hard. It was fun and profitable. Good. Bill, how do I send a private message? Well, you can just email me if you want, sam@orgartco.com. Or if you want to type in a private message right now. I don't know, Leonore, maybe you can explain how to do that because I think there is a way. Good. So yeah, startrightwhereyouare.com, sign up, bring a friend, make it happen. If you're even getting a little niggle of like, oh, that could be fun, then try it. Try it. Like I said, if you do it and it doesn't work for you, then I'll give you your money back. No big deal. Okay? Good. Because I want to see what you do. And you all know, like it's one thing to be here with me now and get all inspired and like, yes, I'll do the 15 minutes. Yes, I'll remember to breathe. Yes. But without the weekly support, like it's really hard to stick with it, It's really hard. Okay. So here's here's number 4. We've talked about 3 of the reasons why you're not getting what you want. We talked about the time thing. We talked about the emotional baggage thing. We talked about the controlling the wrong things thing. And there's another thing that I hear a lot, I notice a lot, and it sort of goes along the lines of, yeah, but I'm not allowed to be like that. I'm not allowed to be like that. So maybe that shows up as, I would do this, but I'm too da-da-da-da. So like I would have speaking gigs, but I'm too shy. Or I would publish my book, but it's too dark and gothic. I would offer my paintings, but they're too sentimental and middle of the road. Nobody would care about them. I would do this, but I'm too da-da. So go ahead and type in for me what you think you're too something of that's keeping you from trying what you want to do, right? I would do this, but I'm too chaotic. I'm too talkative. I'm too disreputable. I'm too academic. I'm too much. A lot of you got told that. Too emotional, too dreamy, too sensitive, too hard on yourself. What is it that you think you're too much of that's keeping you from doing your work? Like, I'm not allowed. I'm not allowed because I'm too something. I'm too something. What is that something? Deborah says, sounds great. Get it done. Helped me out a million. So I'm sure this will be great. Yeah. It's a great compliment to get it done. Karen says, I'm too undisciplined. Yes. Good one. I would do this, but I'm too undisciplined.
Jerry says, not an expert on this.
Right. Not an expert. Not enough credentials. Yes. Good. Keep them coming. I'm dying to hear.
Too old. Too idealistic.
Good.
Yeah. Too self-critical. Too sentimental. Just not good enough. Other people chiming in on agreeing on the too old. I'm too low energy, too distracted, too disorganized, too unsure of my skills, too academic, too shy, too lazy, and too not connected with my inner self.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the hammer of sunshine on this. Here's what I have to say about this. You ready? God don't make no junk. You are not to anything. You are the way you are, and you've always been this way, right? You've always been too undisciplined. You've always been too sentimental. You've always been too shy, too lazy, too academic, too overthinking, too not connected, to whatever it is. You haven't always been too old, but maybe you have thought you were too old before this. So I invite you, the way I invited you to release the story that there's not enough time, I invite you to release the story that you're too this or too that. And what I want you to do instead is, and this is going to seem a little counterintuitive, but what happens if you lean into that a little bit more? Like, what if you make yourself even 1% more undisciplined? Like, I'm going to do this in a more undisciplined, I'm going to be a writer in an undisciplined way. I'm going to paint more with more sentimentality. I'm going to be even more academic. 1%, just a tiny bit. Like, what if you dialed that up just a little bit? Like, I'm going to do this because I'm so old. Like, I'm going to be even more old as I do this. Does that make you smile a little bit? Like, are you getting the giggles a little? Like, what does that call up for you? How would you do it if you were going to do it, you know, to being just 1% more, what, unsure of yourself, 1% more low energy, 1% more perfectionistic, 1% more shy and a little reticent to charge for spiritual inspiration? Yeah, great. So lean into that a little bit. What does that person do? How is that person allowed to behave? You know, if you really, if you leverage that, and again, stop it from being a wall and turn it into a bridge, right? So I'm a coach and I'm shy and I'm a little reticent to charge for spiritual inspiration. That means that I do this way. That means that I explain my prices in a way that's spiritually resonant for me. And I'll give you an example of that in case that wasn't clear. For example, the Get It Done workshop is $365 because it's $1 a day for your project. The Start Right Where You Are is $197 because, as a rule of thumb, it happens that most people have about $200, $250 in disposable income at any given point in time. So anything under $200 is generally a decision that people can make, like, without having to talk to their spouse or really think about it or check their credit card balance. So I wanted it to be kind of a no-brainer price. And yeah, so that, you know, so that's spiritually resonant pricing. It's coming up with a number that you feel really great about, that really works for you, that you feel like is an incredible bargain, and that you can explain and stand behind in a way that feels great. It feels great. So yeah, so if you were going to be the laziest writer in the world, I'll tell you something I've done. I don't think I've told anybody this. All right, I have a book that hasn't been published yet. I'll probably do it next year, called Little Poems. And it's 2-word poems. I'll give you an example of a 2-word poem. Jacket pocket. Failed magician. Summer house. It's 2-word poems. So I'm going to publish an entire book. It's going to have 2 words on every page. Now that's being a lazy writer. But it's joyful and it's inviting and it's fun and it came to me to do it, so I did it. Right? That's lazy. Go for it. Go for it. Okay? So what if you were just 1% more of that thing?
Linda says I think she means like if she were this person. She just goes forth and creates bad stuff joyfully and has so much fun without caring about pleasing the perfectionists.
Yay! Crystal says, totally laughing out loud. Thorley says, yes, I even snorted. Yay for snorting. Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah. Sheena says, a major awakening when you said you may not have always been too old, but maybe you thought you were. When I was 19, I refused an unconditional entry into the London College of Dance and Drama that had been held for me, which was unprecedented, because I was 1 year older than everyone else, and I thought I was going to be too old.
So there you go. You've always been too old. Be a little bit more too old. Like, see if you can't get to the point where you're so old, you're having, you know, blueberry pie for breakfast and just speaking your mind because you don't care what anybody thinks because you're so old. I want to be that old lady, you know? What was I just thinking about? The thing about being too old. Yeah, I mean, I always love, there's the Ann Landers, you know, thing, like somebody said, oh, you know, I want to enroll in medical school, but I'm 50 now, I'll be 55 when I finish, you know. And she says, well, how old will you be 5 years from now if you don't go to medical school? Like, the time's going to pass anyway. And I had you guys may have seen on the bottom of my emails, I usually write, by the way, you look really great today. And I've only had one person ever call me on it, which was a lawyer, of course. He was my entertainment lawyer for a play that I wrote. And he writes back to me one time in a series of negotiations. He's like, by the way, he goes, how do you know I look really great today? And I said, well, David, I know you look really great today for two reasons. One, it's my experience that people generally look great. Like generally people are pretty great looking. That's just my experience. Second of all, I can guarantee you that you look great because if I took a picture of you today and then I showed it to you 20 years from now, you would look at that picture and go, wow, I look great. So however old, fat, ugly, deformed, broken, low energy, whatever you think you are now, believe me, you're in great shape. You're in the perfect position to start right where you are and lean into that thing that you think you're not supposed to be. Shana says, very emotional. Thank you, Sam. Yes. Catherine says, love that reframing. Actually brought tears for honoring and being authentic. Yes. Yes. You guys, you can do this. You can do this. You can do this. I know you can do this. And you can do it now. And I would love to support you in the doing of it. All right. You ready for the big number one? Here's the big reason. Maybe why you're not getting everything you want, and why start right where you are works, why little changes can make a big difference. Because for a long time, this was number one on my list of questions for God. Like what, I couldn't figure this out. Because the experience I had was sometimes I would have an idea for a project or something I wanted to do, and I would move my feet just a little bit, like 15 minutes a day, just do a little investigation. And it was like the universe came rushing at me. Like all of a sudden, every opportunity. And I get emails about this all the time too, particularly from people who do the 15 minutes. They're like, the weirdest thing happened, Sam. I've been doing my 15 minutes a day and I didn't think anything was happening. And then the next thing I know, I got an email from this girl I went to high school with that I haven't talked to in 25 years. And she is a literary editor at a magazine and blah, 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 blah. Like, how does that happen? How does that happen? Those weird circumstances, those crazy, like, you won't believe, like, I got the idea that I wanted an art studio, and the next day a sign went up in this perfect place that's an art studio for free. I don't know, like, amazing, right? And you've had that experience. I know you have, because I have. Everybody I know has had it. Like, you think something, you move your feet a little bit, and like, boom, amazing. Other times, you have an idea, and you work really hard. You don't just move your feet a little, like, you really put some back into it, like, you really put some effort into it. And it feels like nothing happens. Like, it doesn't go anywhere. Like, it even goes backwards, like it's driving a car with square wheels, like, it just will not go. And I was like, what is that? Why does that happen? What's the difference, and how can you tell, and how can you make sure you have more of the first and very few of the latter? Well, here it is. You might kind of have to do this with me because it's a little bit of an action. It's a dance craze. Okay. Pardon me. All right. So I need you to imagine that you are the most self-centered person alive, by which I mean I need you to imagine that you are 100% in the center of your life, which you are. So here you are, in the center of your life. And if you're somewhere where you're sitting or standing, you might even want to move a little bit. So you've got a position here, all right? So here you are in the center of your life. And imagine like the beam of light that connects you to heaven and to earth, right? So you're rooted in the center of your life. And extending out from you is like bicycle spokes. And those bicycle spokes are your relationship with the potentiality of all things. So here's your relationship to that possible future, to that possible project, to that possible person, to this idea, to that destination, right? So you've got all these spokes coming out, connecting you energetically with everything that's possible in the world. So take a moment just to make that picture in your mind, and even like without moving your body, just look around and see what you can see. Like I can see to the edge of that. I can see almost to the edge of that. Like, okay, this is what's in my sphere of vision. So here you are in the center of your life with these sort of energetic spokes extending out, and there's a certain amount of vision that you have from this position. Now, make one tiny movement in any direction, just 1 degree. So I'm going to go just a little bit this way. Now, can you imagine how those bicycle spokes all just shifted? Right? So they were here, and now they're here. So now my relationship to the potentiality of all things is different. I'm at a different angle. Things that maybe couldn't get to me before are now can get to me directly. Things that I was directly aligned with are now maybe not so aligned with. And I can see, oh yeah, I can see all the way back to there. Oh yeah, I can see all the way back to there. Just by one tiny little shift, I get a different range of vision, right? I can start to see around the corner that way a little bit more. That's what it is. You make a tiny move and your relationship to everything else changes. Your relationship to the divine changes. Your relationship to the project changes. Your relationship to other people change. You've seen this in your own life. You make a change inside of yourself. You make a decision inside of your mind, and it's like the whole world is different. Because it is. Because you moved. And there are other times where here we are in the center of our lives. We got all the bicycle spokes going. We have an idea for a project and we work really, really hard at the project and nothing happens. Guess why? You haven't moved. You haven't moved spiritually. You haven't moved psychically. You haven't moved energetically. You're trying to do it the same old way. And that's why you work and you work and you don't get anywhere. Because you haven't actually moved. So I'm not talking about making big, crazy changes in your life. I'm talking about making the teeny, tiny little changes that are going to change your whole world. That's what Start Right Where You Are is about. And if you're into that, I would love to have you there. So startrightwhereyouare.com. And that's it. That was my big searing spiritual insight, was this thing with the bicycle spokes and how our movement, our genuine, real, true-hearted movement is what changes when we move, is what changes things when we move, and how when we don't move, nothing changes. Good. How y'all doing in there? Yes, the 1 degree is 15 minutes, worth it. Totally, totally. Melanie says, feels good to hear that we're in the right place, right moment, right phase to start being what we want to be. That's right. That's right. This is the time. This is the time. There is no other time other than now. There is no other time other than now. There is no other time other than now. The past no longer exists, except as a movie in your mind. It's gone. The future gone and not guaranteed for any of us. Not guaranteed for any of us. There was a heartbreaking loss in my community this week. We go so fast. We don't have any idea how long we're here to do our work. You cannot delay. You cannot delay. Robin says, I can't wait to start the series. Maybe this is my little move. Yes, yes. Good. I love it, says Catherine. Great, great, great. Marla says, wonderful analogy. I know, isn't it good? I was so relieved when I thought of it, or when it sort of came to me that that's what that was. And then I have a friend who's a minister who says that that's actually process theology. Apparently it's a thing. I don't really know enough about theology to be able to say whether or not that's real, but that's what he said. So yeah, startrightwhereyouare.com. So I said I would stay on the line and answer your questions. I hope I've done a good job of answering your questions as we've been going through. Do you guys have any other things that are burning on your mind right now? Good. Leonor, any questions that I've skimmed past me?
Not that I've seen, although I just had to refresh my browser, and so everything just disappeared. So I'm not super helpful right now.
Yay, for getting a C. We're limping along here, people. It's not always going to go perfectly, but it's going. It's going. We're here and we're doing it. Thank you so much for that, Leonor. I appreciate your making the extra effort. Jerry says, do you know the poem by W.H. Murray, Commitment? Quote, concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. That moment, one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. Dude. Exactly. Exactly. But it starts with your commitment and your decision. And that's, it's something, particularly when I'm talking to people about some of the higher investments. I mean, I've got a program that's $12,000 or $15,000, to enroll in. It's a commitment. And when I'm talking to people about that commitment, I mean, obviously I want to make sure that it's right for them. I don't want to work with them if it's not going to be a good fit, right? So as we're sort of looking at it, and there's always this feeling of like, well, if I knew whether or not it was going to be worth it, if I knew that I could really see it through, if I knew that it was going to work out financially. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Wouldn't that be great if we could know ahead of time? If we could just get the information ahead of time, that would be so great. But we don't know. And while we're in that state of indecision, it's like it's all very murky and cloudy. And that's that feeling of overwhelm, I think, is like that uncertainty and not knowing. But the minute you commit, the minute you say, I'm in, I'm doing this is happening, 15 minutes a day, 1% more the way I think I'm not supposed to be, like I'm claiming my time, I'm giving up on those people that I can't fix or control. Like the minute you commit, boom, the clarity comes. It's so great on the other side. It's like raising your prices. I have a coach that I was, a guy who's a coach and a teacher, sort of a spiritual teacher, and I was helping him raise his prices, which he was reluctant to do, understandably. We all feel shy about that. He was, having your normal, what you would expect. Can I really do that? Am I really enough of an expert? Is anybody going to pay for that? La, la, la. And then he calls me and he goes, Sam, you won't believe what happened. I was talking to this potential client, and she was really interested. And then she asked how much the package was. And I said $6,000. And then I stopped talking. And she said, do you take American Express? And I'm like, right, it's so great when it works. And like on the other side of it, he was so nervous about doing it. But then once he did it and actually got paid that, he was like, this is fabulous. But it doesn't happen until you do it. You don't get the fabulous until you do it. You don't get the certainty until you do it. You don't get the certainty until you commit with certainty. It's one of the great, tricks of the universe. So yeah, you got to commit. You can always make another decision. You can always commit and then change the plan if you want to change the plan. But don't allow yourself to stay in a state of indecision. It's very emotionally draining and exhausting. Are all the calls recorded and start right where you are? Yes, they're absolutely, they're all recorded and you have access to them forever and forever. Amen. And like I said, you're in the 365 Club for a year as well. So that's a whole nother 12 recordings that you can be part of live and that you can have access to. Plus there's literally thousands of hours of recordings in the 365 Club. So if you're a Sam junkie, then you will get your fill. Because there is hundreds and hundreds of hours. There's probably at least 1,000 hours of recordings in there, of old classes, of all kinds of things on special topics, some just sort of more general open coaching calls. So it's a heck of a deal. I will also tell you, talking about that pricing thing, one of the other reasons I went with the 197 is, like I said, it felt like sort of a manageable number. And here's what I know for a fact. Like if you don't do it, it's not like you're going to have an extra $197 at the end of the year. It's going to go somewhere. So why not let it go to you and your creativity and your happiness and your joy and your commitment and getting you the support that you need? Because I know you think you can do this by yourself. And I'm here to tell you that you can't. I mean, maybe you can. And I certainly don't mean to insult your capacity to do things on your own. But my experience is that I can't do it myself. I need programs. I need support. I need coaching. I pay out God's own money to my coach. I take everybody's classes. And I need it. I need that ongoing support. I can't see what I can't see. I can't always inspire myself. I can't always lift myself up out of my own bad habits or poor thinking. I get better and better at it. My rebound time gets faster and faster. My decision-making time gets faster and faster, but we're all a work in progress. So please don't take it personally or feel insulted when I tell you it's foolish to try and do this work alone. We learn best in groups. Like I said, we're tribal animals. It's easiest for us to learn in groups. We can watch other people do it. We can see other people modeling stuff. We can hear about other people's problems and other people's heartbreaks. We can support and encourage other people. And even sometimes that, it's not very pretty, but that feeling of well, if she can do it, I'm sure I can do it. I thought I was crazy. That person is totally crazy, but they're doing it, so maybe I could do it. It works. It really, really works. So startwhereyouare.com. Sign up, sign up. Mally says, I love my 365 club. Yes, yes, yes. Diane says, right on. 197 is going to go somewhere. Why not spend it for me? Why not indeed? She puts a little heart emoji. Excellent. Excellent. Good. All right. Anything else happening? Anything burning for you? Anything you're wondering about or thinking about? Well, this has been so great. I'm so grateful that you all took the time to be here with me. Leonore, thank you so much, as always, for being such an incredible part of the team.
My pleasure. So great to be part of this.
I hear other entrepreneurs complain all the time about their team. They're like, oh, my assistant can't do anything, and this person can't do anything, and my web designer this, and I don't know what they're talking about. I have the best team in the world. So like I said, publishing a book, not that hard. Assembling a great team, not that hard. Really, not that hard. Good, I'm stalling for a second because I want to make sure that you guys aren't typing in questions that I'm not seeing. But it looks like we're good. Start right where you are. Crystal says, I've hired 3 other coaches plus Sam in the last 6 months. It works, right? It works. I'm telling you what. I don't know how anybody gets by without a coach. Good, good. All right, well, you can always email us if you have questions. And get a friend, if you can sign up with a buddy, that's always good because, it just helps to have somebody else on your team, right? And somebody to help hold you accountable because you're slippery. You're slippery people. Shana says, thank you so much yet again. You really are wonderful. Well, thank you. So are you. Oh, Larry, the 5th reason. What was it again? The 5th reason is that bicycle spoke thing. So you're not getting what you want because you haven't moved. It's the short version of it. Thank you for asking me to say that again. Yeah. So, yeah, you're not getting what you want because you haven't actually moved to a place where you can get it. Right? Good. Thank you, Sam. My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you. Good. Let's do one more round of breathing just to close out this circle and this time together. The world needs your art, and you can do it right now, starting right now. You ready? Let's inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for doing this with me.